All right, so I just finished up with this prime mover. It's an M1163 prime mover. This one was set up to tow the mortar launcher. It had the hitch in the back and everything for towing the mortar launcher. I got a lot of stuff done on this thing. It wasn't a full redo. It was just fix all the problems that mechanical problems that it had. Just like airbags, CV boots, stuff like that, air system. The controls for some reason, were unhooked for the airbags. Had air leaks. We had some check valves that were bad. Quite a few problems. So I spent quite a few hours just wringing out all the problems. So we did CV boots, did all 4 airbags, things like this hood hinge was rusted and broken, so I cleaned that all up, re-welded it, fixed that, put a new hood strut on it. I didn't do an oil change, none of that stuff. The owner's going to do all that stuff. Had the dash apart, figured out the problems with the CTIS, the problems with the suspension leveling system. I got all that working. All the gauges work. I had to change the start switch because it was jacked up. It was just really stiff. So I got that changed out just so it didn't stick on start, and screw up the starter. Cut the rear steering lock loose. Fixed some air leaks in here. Check valve going to the air compressor was bad, so it was leaking air back out through the reeds on the compressor head. So I changed the hose because it was bad. It had a kink in it. It was in pretty bad shape. Changed a couple of the fittings in there that were leaking, some of the push to connects. Down inside here, I changed all the check valves. I changed the push to connect fittings and some of the air hoses for the individual, going to the manifold and to the individual airbags. Got all that done. So this thing holds air. It doesn't sag back down. This thing, I had it sitting up for like 4 days without it sagging down. Put new batteries in it. Had to make new hold downs. Gosh, what else did I do to this thing? Walk around it. And here's a pile of parts. There's a check valve from the air compressor. This heater unit that was on the check valve, I just took it off because it doesn't fit the new one. We could put it back on. I'll talk to the owner about it, but I doubt we need it because this is set up on that system with the switch on the dash. When you get below 20 degrees Fahrenheit or something like that, you're supposed to run the heaters for stuff like that. Here's the old hood strut. It was just jacked up, just blown out, wore out like usual. When I had the dash apart, a lot of the riv nuts were bad, or they actually have the little riveted on nuts. I just replaced them with rib nuts just because they're better. So I replaced about, like 5 of those. Some of the missing screw hardware. The fuse block, it had a lot of corrosion in it. I think I've got that all worked out now. If it has problems, then the owner can, we can change that fuse block. But I have it all working now. So the transmission's working, everything else is working fine. And then coming down here below, the center pan was really bent up bad. I straightened it out pretty good. It still has a couple little tweaks to it here, but it's not bad. It's as good as I could do. The drive shaft was bent. The owner, I brought the old one back to the owner, and he sent it to his driveline shop, and they rebuilt it. They put a heavier duty tube on it. It's all balanced, ready to go. I put that back in. The cables for the transfer case were a little stiff. I got that all freed up and working. The cable for the transmission for the shift. Let me go around to that side. So the cable for the transmission, where it connects to the transmission up here for the shifter. The swivel on there was froze up, and so the problem with that is, trying to shift it ended up breaking it off the end of the cable. So I made a new end for the end of the cable. I put a Heim joint on there, pinned it on. It works great. So that was a good fix without needing to change the cable. It's not a problem at all. That cable lasts a long time. And I changed the front lower control arm bushings. All 4 bushings, there's 2 on each control arm. All 4 of the bushings were totally gone. There was some rubber left in there, but it was just metal on metal inside. So I was able to source those and change those out. I had the A-arms off to do the CV joints and the airbags. So I'm done with this one. This is the first 1163 that I got to work on. They're pretty cool to work on. They're pretty nice vehicles. As far as driving them, they steer a lot sharper than the 1161s. The 1161s, you can hardly make a left turn on these things. But with the 1163, this thing will just spin around. It'll turn really sharp. And if you use the rear steering, this thing will spin around in a circle, just like little tiny tight circles. This thing will really get around. So this thing would actually be really fun to off-road. You look at the back wheels, and they're in line with the back of the body. You could drop down a vertical in this thing and you wouldn't even drag. Maybe the hitch would hit and that would be it. So these things are pretty cool. Looks like a lot of fun. And now it's just time to bring this one back to the owner. So I hope he enjoys it. Hope it all works out good for him. And thanks for watching. And if you liked the video, please hit like. If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit subscribe and share it with a friend. If you've got some Jeep buddies that think their Jeeps are cool or whatever, show them the video on this thing. This thing is cool. So have a good day. All right, well, 5 hours ago I was shooting video of the 1163 on the back of this trailer. I took it down to San Diego to drop it off to the owner, and I picked up this 1161. So I'm going to take this, evaluate it for him, let him know what it needs. So it's ITV 49. So this is M1161 LSV Light Strike variant, number 49. So I'm going to go through it, check the airbags, check the CV boots, check all that kind of stuff. I know it does have one major problem with it. When he got it, it said it ran, but there was like an antifreeze bottle sitting here on the floor with a hose going up to the engine. And they told him, if you want it to run, you have to keep fuel in this. So we've got to figure out why it's not getting fuel from the tanks. So we'll be fixing that. Put batteries in it. There's no batteries in it. Not a bad looking Growler. Actually, it's in pretty good shape. It does have the undercoating spray on the bottom, which I dread, you know, when I'm working on them, because it's just kind of a pain, you know. And everything you do, you want to pull a hose off, you got to cut that stuff off, you got to scrape it off, you know. But that's just the way it goes. It's just how these are. So anyways, it's been I'm beat. Sat on the freeway for 2 hours coming home from San Diego. Terrible Friday afternoon traffic. So I'll be doing another video just on this. I'll do a video after I go through it and see what it needs, and then I'll do a video, obviously, you know, when I'm done, explaining what I did and kind of showing it off a little bit. So anyways, thanks for watching. Thanks.